Hey everyone, good evening everyone, and welcome to the LIBERcast episode 117. A lot of stuff to discover, a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of has to whoop tonight with the spiritual movement, the culture of freedom, culture in big there. There's the cult culture of freedom, and this is the part 2. And part 2 is going to be, it's called cardboard spirituality. And I choose this name for a reason, because tonight we're going to talk about the more darker side, the cognitive dissonance into the spiritual movements in the freedom communities. So there's plenty of stuff to talk about tonight. And I want to say to people tonight, it's not gonna be a easy breezy, joyful podcast, because I'm tired of this. I've covered it like a lot, in on the French side, in the English side. I cannot fucking believe that we're still at this point. How much bullshit that it's sold to the people, spiritually talking. This is a sensible subject, because the era that we're living in is spiritual war. It's a war on spirituality, into the consciousness of the people. So this is an important conversation tonight. So I encourage people to, if you have questions that you want to ask, and any comments, I'm going to look at them during the podcast. And thank you, people, for joining us live or afterward. This is an important time that we have to stick out our heads out of our asses and do something. So get involved. I'm gonna repeat that at every episode that's gonna be from now on. I'm gonna push this on people. Get involved. Do something. Don't fucking wait. Don't wait for Jesus, for the extraterrestrials, or any things that people can, any bullshit that people will sell you. Just do the fucking work. So the LIBERcast is on YouTube, Odysee, BitChute a little bit. I'm actually live on DLive, YouTube, and Facebook. So the Facebook, the group is there. The LIBERcast group is there. So join us there if you're on Facebook. If not, then you have Odysee and YouTube to get all the podcasts. But I go on Odysee. Don't go on YouTube and go on Odysee. It's always updated there. You can download the stuff. There's no censorship. So go there. So before I'm introducing my two beautiful guests, I just want to share this. My usual plug on the onegreatworknetwork.com, a network created by Mark Passio. And there's about, I think, more than 70 content creators there who produces stuff, actual and in the past. And there's many subject that it's covered there. The occult, morality, anarchism, abolitionism. There's symbolism. There's and the old traditions are covered there. So there's plenty of stuff. French for the people. There's Dom there. There's Darian. There's me, who are actually doing thing in French. I don't know for the others, but there's a bunch of them. So go there and encourage them. It's free, totally free. You don't have to subscribe. You just go there and you enjoy the information. So here we go. I'm going to introduce Derek and Chris. Once again, thank you for joining me tonight, brothers. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having
me. Honor and pleasure, brother. Yeah. Chris, Fred, bonsoir.
So, I don't know for you guys, but I think it's getting redundant. There's so many people covered the more absurd aspect of spirituality as a whole, and we're not necessarily talking about the doctrines there, but the uses from these people. How is it used and why it's wrong? Why a lot of them are just solipsists, or most of them are moral relativists, and why it is important to be truthful and humble and honest about this shit. And when I'm talking about shit, I'm talking about shit there. Okay, there's some people actually they're getting together and they're fucking jerking off together and in their delusions and their false interpretation of spirituality. There's a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about. There's a lot of people who are telling you or trying to sell you pure fucking garbage. And I see it. It's everywhere. It's like the political. I'm repeating myself. It's fucking everywhere. How much of these fucking lazy ass spiritual cardboard spiritualists that are trying to sell you garbage?
And how much money are they making out of that?
Oh my God. Yes.
Guy TV and all this stuff. That's not to negate everyone or whatever, discredit everyone up in that network. But yeah, Fred, if you don't mind, let's lay down the landscape of what we've kind of noticed going on. People, waltzing around like they're on some kind of catwalk, as if this is some kind of spiritual fashion show. This like spiritual virtue signaling, if you will. And whether or not they're aligned or not, sometimes you see a lot more lip service than actual action being manifested into this reality to actually, speak forth what they're, trying to evoke or, pay lip service to possibly. So, yeah, Fred, as you mentioned, or what you alluded to as far as, people that, got a good taste of some spiritual information and yada yada, whether it be from influencers that just want to tick a couple boxes or so to kind of, make them look good as if they tapped into some deep esoteric information or whatever. when people watch these, especially, in the TikTokification of things where, get little, sound bite of this and not really read things and really research stuff and cross pollinate references and, do your own due diligence of research. Have you guys noticed that, it's kind of created this, people have this mentality like, oh yeah, I know this, I know it all and that kind of stuff. And so like, oh, they got it figured out, and that kind of blocks them from that extra teachability, if you will. If we, you all understand that bell curve and how important that is for, the truth discovery and, this ongoing continuation of, self-development and evolution, right? So, yeah, like the real streetwise spirituality and doing the fucking shadow work and all these things that, yeah, you got to get your hands dirty. And the spiritual awakening can be a very fucking rude one, especially if it depends on how many years you've been out of alignment and all that stuff and how much of a cosmic apology you're willing to fucking make to really, get back on the right side of your karmic wheel, if you will. So I'm going to end it on that. Yeah, Chris, what's good, brother?
I don't know. I don't really know what to say other than, for me, what I have in mind is like the new age bullshit. That's I was living with someone temporarily doing like a permaculture thing in the woods back in the day in 2012 or something. And, and then I became a vegan and with all the new age shit and like all the excuses and just the, like logic is flawed, thinking isn't all it's cracked up to be. You just got to feel your way, oh, you don't need language. We could just communicate without language just by like whatever, I don't know, like empathizing with other. It's like they come up with all this like, I don't know, nonsense. Well, some things can be valid, but it's all to diminish other aspects that are also valid because what they're talking about seems more spiritual and quote spiritual. So it's all this emphasis on, I guess, an overemphasis on so-called the right brain modalities and the rejection of the left brain modalities that are highly valuable and necessary for figuring out what's going on and applying solutions and getting things done. Yeah, and I made a chart back in 2014. I think it was March 2014 that had Passio's 10 New Age deceptions, and then I added 15 onto that. And then I think a month later he came out with his New Age bullshit revisited, and some of the things that he added in his second version were also like stuff that I covered. And yeah, one of the biggest one is the feel-good pleasure trap, as I call it, as I've written about and done presentations on. That's one of the, if it feels good, then they go to it. If it feels bad, then they don't really want to have anything to do with it. And all these beliefs that I've gotten into, beliefs in my work too. And we can just, human beings are very good. I've termed it, we have an abstraction engine powered by an imagination factory. No, or was it no, I think it was imagination factory powered by an abstraction engine. I forget how I've termed it like years ago, like 10 years ago or something. So it's an imagination factory. We can imagine so many things, and it's powered by the engine of abstraction. So we can abstract things and basic aspects of what we can see in reality, and we can go into abstract thinking, and then we can imagine so much. And what ends up happening is we build like these constructs of like, oh, this is connected to this and this is connected to this, and it's like these big constructs in the clouds of these ideas, these things we imagine and these beliefs, and they come from other people. We can make them up ourselves. But the thing is, like, if you have the grounding here and your stuff is supposed to be like connected to the ground, well, it's not connected to the ground. It's like it's here. It's like all floating off, and there's this big, huge, amorphous like cloud, you could say. It's all connected, but it's all connected to bullshit in a sense because it's not really grounded in reality.
Yeah, not on those axioms of truth or whatever, if you will.
Yeah, it depends on what rhetoric you're feeding with. Essentially, there are rhetorics, and there are axioms from the occult. So, but the only thing with that is that they were perverted, and they were inverted into their meanings, and what is the and people, there's a lot of things that we can talk about, but essentially what is happening is that you have people who are actually getting out of salvationism, and they're going straight into another salvationist cult. What salvation is it means that is you have to submit to a God.
Jesus will save you.
It's part of it. There's many things that we get, like Zoroastrians, the fucking how they call them, the Anunnaki. Now people are fucking like taking this shit and putting them genre in the fucking their fucking gods, and they created us. And even if it's true, doesn't mean that we have to submit to something. What about learning about natural law, really, and not the secret, this fucking garbage book that people fucking swallowed? This book is pure fucking garbage.
But it makes you feel good.
And you have there's what Chris was talking about. There's the feel good aspect to spirituality. There are some people who will find some cults, and I'm gonna call some cults. They're small communities. They're echo chambers that people are fucking jerking off together and fucking like believing and convincing themselves that it's better than it is really. And there's a lot of people who are deep ignorant people there. Lazy, cowardly losers. These are the people, like I said last time, those are the people who are fucking, you're in marathon, you're running, and these motherfuckers are pulling on your t-shirt, to slow you down. This is what we have to deal with. We have to deal with deeply intellectually, emotionally, spiritually retarded people.
And they could be a snag. Going back to pulling on your t-shirt, have you heard Mario West talk about that? Snags, sensitive new age guys. An acronym. Yeah.
And I never heard of that. I'm really busy, so I don't have to. I cannot fucking watch everything. There's so much good content creators. They're
right,
making.
So little time.
Yeah, so little time to do it. Actually, yes, absolutely. And about the salvationist cults and things like that. Then what we have here is people who are actually salvationists, and they're hedonist at the same time. You have both faces of the same thing, and what they're looking for when these pseudo cowards spiritualists, cardboard spiritualists are looking for. They're looking for not doing their responsibility, not taking their responsibility into the world. They want to flee into a safe zone where everyone is happy, everyone is ignorant, and everybody and every people that are aside, they're rejected, they're mocked. It's not different than other cults. It's a very, very insidious way to enslave people. This is why I love the expression of Mark Passio about that. This is the last cul-de-sac. It's a dead end for most people, because people don't know what spirituality is really.
Fred, I don't think everyone knows what a cul-de-sac really means. And Mais oui, tout le monde parle français ici. And cul de sac, like the ass of the bag. That's what it literally means in French. So like you're getting ass bagged on the way to like the true path of, you're like
it's a dead end,
right? You know, there's a lot of hooks, traps, and snares on the true path to freedom and enlightenment and all this stuff. So yeah, we just got to be wary. We've kind of had to go through the ringer to whatever degrees sometimes, because like it is so insidious, because there is so much golden material, and they do tread on a good amount of eternal principles, universal law, natural law, and all these things. Yet, yeah, as you guys both mentioned, it kind of lures the mind too much into this passive right brain dominant thing. And so that's kind of like the taking on the slave, or waiting for the savior type of thing, being passive, the standby protocol for, wait for the aliens to come, or the right constellations are going to come, and 5D is going to, all this stuff, and like as if 4D is something they've achieved already type of thing. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of bypassing, if you will, with a lot of these things. And, people really need to wise up, because this is your life, and it will backfire on you if you're going to go through life acting like, leapfrog and, life hack your fucking way into spirituality, some shit like that, So, yeah.
Like I said, I was saying that, like you said, there's so many traps on the way, so many things that are caught your eyes. You're gonna stumble upon these people, well mannered. They're very beautifully, they look beautiful, and they're saying everything to you that you want to hear, the stuff that you want to hear. Well, essentially, they're like spiritual politicians. They're fucking bullshitter.
Positivity mask.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, we can totally talk about this. I think it's a good point, Chris. The many faces of the spiritual movement, and the one of I want to get to is the absurd infantilism of the spiritual community. And what I mean by infantilism means that people have never grown, and the new age movement and the spiritual gurus that there are side, they're not gonna tell you how to grow. They're gonna show you a way to become pleasant, and show you this false positivity, like Chris mentioned. And I think it's a good point. You want to add something about this, Chris?
Well, I've talked about it in some earlier work. I've referred to it something as like the feel good pseudo spiritual positivity mask. So rather than I guess face the reality as it is in the darkness, the horror, the negative, the evil, the immorality, as well as recognizing the beauty and the goodness and the positivity and the light. They only try to look at things in that respect, and they want to carry themselves as being totally positive. So think positive, and don't think anything negative. So they always walk around with with a smile, and they're always trying to be kind. The ethical, not that it's moral, it's within morality, but it's more the ethics rather than the higher level morality of ending evil. So they just be nice and smile and be kind to other people, and you don't talk about anything that's in the shadow or in the darkness or the negative about the world or about other people. um yeah, and it's just it's a mask of positivity, and they're not dealing with the darkness that they are contributing in order to create the external darkness that the world, the condition of the world, finds itself in. So they're living as a falser, unrealer, um, uh, what was it, false,
Yeah,
lower, falser, unrealer, and lower self, a version of
yeah,
themselves than they could become if they would do that shadow work of recognizing the moral bankruptcy, in a sense, that the moral failures that they're not facing, that they could transmute and sublimate and individuate into like a phoenix and become a better version of themselves, not just in the okay, being kind and nice and all this facade and always smiling and always trying to be happy. It's not realistic, because an emotion is something that comes and goes. So people, there's the one thing I really don't like about of like the pursuit of happiness, this so-called life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think that's like uh, I guess bullshit. You could call it that. It should be, as Passio mentioned, it should, as he mentioned, like John Locke or something, life, liberty. When he was reading the Aquinas, person with the Aquinas name essay, life, liberty, and property, rather than happiness, because happiness deals with the pleasure trap. But happiness is, people think, oh, you're not happy, or why aren't you happy, or whatever. I'm content, other than, the burden of the knowledge that I have and that we have of seeing the darkness in the world, and that, well, unfortunately, we're not gods of the reality, so we can't just snap our fingers like a Thanos and just make things the way we want them to be. We're trapped in this, what we've made of as a hell. It's progressively getting worse by the ignorance of others, and that's why the great work is so important, is to alleviate that ignorance. The ignorance is relating to moral knowledge, to develop a conscience and exercise that conscience. And if we, since we're bound by the ignorance of others to not be free, that's a burden that we have. But otherwise, like, emotions come and go. You're not supposed to be always happy. It's an unnatural state. It's an emotional fluctuation where there's stimulus in your environment, things happen, events happen. Those events are not ongoing forever. They don't perpetually exist. Things happen and things change. There's ups and downs. There's positives and negatives in life. So yeah, at times you can be happy and joyful, and other times you can be sad and angry and all the other things. And you're not going to permanently be in a happy state. So when someone's always like projecting themselves as always happy, it seems kind of fake. And I think most people, like, they see this. But the pseudo spiritual people, I think they think that's like how you have to be if you want to portray yourself as spiritual. And if you're not doing that, then you're not spiritual. Because if you're spiritual, that's the stupid fucking shit of follow your bliss. You got to be in the bliss. So if you're not in the bliss, well, you're failing in your spiritual attainment goals. Then you're not really being spiritual. They have all these nonsensical beliefs that don't really match up to reality or what it is to be like
yeah.
a human.
Yeah, real quick, like being blissed out all the time, it's like impossible. It's like running on your dopamine the whole time. No, that doesn't work. It's like against the law of rhythm and like the ebb and flow of our own energy systems, and how that operates to whatever degree of any individual, right? It kind of differs. But yeah, Fred, did you want to get into, like this cultish mentality? And yeah, Chris, going back with what you talked about with, like the whole, it's like in some of these circles, right? If like, if you're not being positive, like people are gonna like start to notice and be like, whoa, what's going on? And so there's like this group think, in a sense. There's like some dogma around it, especially when, and I'm sure you guys have seen on social media, like someone has a comment on whatever meme or whatever, and like, oh, why are you being so negative, or that's so judgmental, or this and that. Yet it's an oxymoron, because they're judging someone's opinion and calling that judgmental. It's funny how these semantics, people don't make proper sense of it in real time. Like, but y'all know what I mean. So what's causing this cult mentality and the dogma around it and all that? And how can people break out of this shit, I guess? Because that's like part of why we're coming together to have folks break these spells of these dark occult sorcery. around, the inversions and perversions, like you said, Fred, of these eternal principles and shit.
So there's many points, actually. And I want to bring that. I took some notes there when you were talking, and the one thing that I want to bring is ego identification. So I think this is one of the most common mind control weapons that are used against the people in every stratas of society. And for the people who don't know what ego identification is people are identifying themselves by their role of they're playing into society, or in their community, or social groups, or internet groups. They're gonna embrace and become what they're consuming as information, and what they're into, the echo chamber of this. And we can this kind of mentality cannot be that wrong without consequences. There's a lot of people who identify when they're talking to them, and you asking what you're doing, I doing, oh, so I'm Christian, or I'm living into I'm living in every dimensions, I'm in 10 dimensions at the same time, and they're fucking fucking delusional garbage that I hear all the time. The people, I happen to stumble upon Buddhists and New Agers. They're I don't I mean I'm not saying that they're bad people. Maybe they're not. But for the people who don't know what solipsism is deeply ingrained into that, because they don't think that the world is real. They think that what they have, what they can see, what they can hear, and what they can smell is their own invention. You cannot prove the outer world, the external world, and find some truth there. Truth is relative, it's subjective. There's no objective truth for these people. And the reaction that I had when I heard this guy, he told me, I'm not even sure that you're real. And I told him, motherfucker, if I fucking punch you in the face and I stamp you on the ground, you'll see I'm fucking real. Just go on the street and cross the street without looking when there's a car. And the guy was like, oh my God, why? Why are you saying that? I'm like, are you fucking listening to yourself? Are you saying them I'm not actually there, and I'm an invention of your mind? I was like, you think you're spiritual, motherfucker? You have to find something else. Buddhism is not for you. Okay? I mean, what the fuck? It's not the only one I stumble upon. There's many of them, some religionists, some New Agers, I'm telling you, brothers, they're absolutely everywhere.
And it's not just the right brain too. You can have that imbalance in the left brain with people who
both
they
at
understand,
the same time, brother.
The information sensory inputs come in to your eye, and then it's inverted in your brain, and well, those are just signals. Well, then if it's just signal, we could just be in a simulation, and people think that we're actually just in some fucking simulation, or that it's all just a hologram and all this other bullshit. And it's how powerful beliefs are. The main problem I've stated, the problems are fourfold for me. The main categories of problems. First is consciousness, the capacity to do great good and great evil. And then from there, the second one is the power of belief. And from there, you have attachment. So you have attachment to beliefs, you have attachment to the ego, identity, personality construct. And you get to the fourth one, which is the pleasure trap and the attachment to that. And so these are like the four main barriers, I guess, that I've identified as like what people get really stuck on, the pleasure trap. And then there's the fucking beliefs, all these the things that they get attached to themselves and other people, and they don't care about morality. They just care about belonging, feeling good, being part of something, feeling like they're part of something greater than themselves, to give their lives meaning and purpose, because they don't have true meaning and purpose. And then all the beliefs, like everything you're talking about, you just mentioned right now, that's, this Buddhist and this thing, all they have is a belief construct, just belief upon belief upon belief, and it's just created this false reality, but they take it as actual reality. And all the sensory input, like, oh, well, you can't really know because it's all sense signals and it's just signals. Well, how else would you expect it to work? Do you expect yourself as a being to be reality itself? Do you, like, how else would it work if you're supposed to be able to observe reality, if it's not going to come in as some sort of signal that you have the technology of your eyes or your ears to be able to process, to make sense of, that information that exists around us? You're not going to be reality. Like, what else other mechanism is there for to be able to experience and exist in reality as a being of consciousness, other than receiving information in some way, as sound or visuals or tactile sensations? Like, oh no, that's like it's a simulation, or it's a holographic, like. Yeah, but that's not really a proof of it. Like, okay, maybe that's possible, but why would you deny the obviousness that, well, maybe it's just that reality is real and there's things in reality and you're one of those things, and go from there, rather than like deny that and go for some fucking far-fetched speculative concoction and belief and theory that. But you think that makes more sense? Why? Because you saw a movie called The Matrix and you think that as literal, like, oh, that's a documentary or some fucking thing. Like, fuck off.
I mean that's a powerful movie if you can read between the lines.
Best movie ever made, as far as I'm concerned, because the
Yeah,
allegory
fucking
is just
powerful,
fucking
man.
out of this world. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark Passios did he went through all the movies from the Matrix, and this is good shit. Go there and just I think it's on YouTube. You can.
I was watching it
It's
on
good there.
Odysee. It's great. He linked up his podcast episodes
Perfect.
on Odysee because fuck YouTube, right? But
Yep.
I was watching that today, preparing for a chat I just had with Leslie on Dissolve and Divide with Glenn Tram, who's in network with you guys. It's podcast 238 and 239 for the fourth Matrix movie breakdown, and he does it brilliantly. And
Oh
it
yes.
really shed so much light that so many people, it just went over their head. And people watch these movies for the action, and they want to see things through their perspective. And what's really interesting is that the movie plays on that of the human psyche and reveals that of how people are still entrapped in the matrix and all the mechanisms behind the mind control and all these things. So yeah, we highly recommend checking those out. And yeah, obviously, the whole trilogy was broken down. Brandon Martin also did one, and Glenn Tram as well. He also spoke with Mario for like 5 hours on that. But anyways, enough plugins, yeah.
Yeah, I just discovered it when you when you talked to me. I went to his work. I have since time to take time and listen to his work. There's so much work, like there's fucking endless videos and explication on everything. So I mean, fuck. I don't want to get I don't want to get angry. I want to stay calm, and I don't want to swear that much. And what I want to bring is what I was talking about: ego identification and the prison of the five sense and things like that. I think there's this hedonism is rampant into these communities, and people are searching for pleasure, and they think that they can like hope real hard. I'm having good intentions, and I'm gonna fucking crystallize this desire into the real world. Well, it doesn't work like that, actually. You know, in order to have something, you have to move. You have to do something. You have to construct, like build it. You have to work hard to have what you want. And there's so much people that are stuck into these mind traps of I'm it's useless to do something, to move. It's useless to move. I'm just gonna fucking meditate and contemplate over money. I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna have, you know, worthless garbage that people are selling themselves, you know, to feel better about the darkness of this world. They refuse to look into the darkness. They refuse to look in the darker stuff and the negative, quote, negative stuff. They're actually moving against the real spiritual people. They're actually slowing us down. It's really hard to get through that. It's really hard. And people are fucking like, they're swallowing it, this information, like, please give me more. You know, more of laziness, more of cowardly behavior, you know. But when it comes to truth, these people are fucking allergic to it. They're gonna sneeze, you know, their eyes are gonna be puffy, you know, they're gonna have this fucking fluoride stare when you're gonna confront them. I had the honor of confronting a lot of new agers. I was telling them, you're not gonna do anything good. You don't. I actually, brothers, I actually asked them, what is spirituality? And they could not fucking answer. Some gave me some fucking, you know, babbling, you know, fucking word salad of what they think that is spirituality is. And I was telling them, spoiler, I'm going to tell you what spirituality is. It's all about freedom. And New Age is a cage. It's a trap to keep you, you know, the new cage movement. They're going to satisfy you with beautiful words. They're going to give you some juice, you know, oh, you can take your little juice and drink it, and everybody is going to be happy. Everyone is in pajamas, and we're going to tell our horrible fucking stories of parental abuse, of intimidation, of fucking bullying, and they're going to tell you everything. You know, and what they're going to do, these fucking gurus, these motherfuckers, they're going to victimize them into fucking oblivion. They're going to, it's not important. It's only a story. Tell us your story. You know,
it's all just experience, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's no good or bad. It's just, we're just here to experience things and, you know, yeah, I forget. I have it's all good. We're all one. It's all good. We're just experiencing. So there's no good or bad experiencing. Don't judge your experiences and all this fucking bullshit there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can put up your slide there. It was in the bottom of the queue, so I didn't saw it. So I'm going to put it up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good,
yeah. There's, so like, I'll just go through like the first, I'll
Sure.
just name the
Yeah,
25 headings and then people can go look it up. So maybe
Sure.
it'll give us some things to bounce off of. So just the deceptions, ignore the negative, bad, evil, horror, darkness, etc. We've already talked about that. Never get angry. We're all one. Everything's good. You can never really know. Solipsism, we've talked about a bit. Accept, don't resist. What you resist persists, and that has to do with, rejecting the negative. The false law of attraction, the service to ego self, the false forgiveness, fear of chaos, fear evil, fear truth. That ties into not looking in the negative either. Enlightenment is only about changing yourself. So it's all about a self-focus, selfishness, right to the ego. That ties into solipsism. And, it's not about helping to influence others to change the world. Truth doesn't need to be defended, as if, truth has a voice, it can speak for itself. Yeah, it doesn't need to be defended. We don't need to say anything. And so I think those were the first 10 from Mark. And then, so the pleasure trap focus from the 5 sense illusion. We've gotten into that. Thoughts are bad. The mind is bad. I've mentioned that one at the beginning. The new age golden era is coming. This is related to the salvationism, as you mentioned, the savior, the new age, the 5D. We're going to the 5D. You gotta remember, humanity is gonna split. We're gonna split off. There's gonna be some of us that are gonna stay in the 3D, and then some of us are gonna go to the 4D, and the lucky ones are gonna go to the 5D. There's all this nonsense bullshit narrative, like this big storytelling. So my truth is as valid as your truth. So that's moral. That's like relativism, subjectivism. Yeah. Everyone's opinion is just as valid as the other. Don't judge, because judging is bad. Judging is wrong.
So true, man.
Follow spiritual masters, gurus, or entities. The Pleiadians are going to save us, or it's there was Nasara, Saint Germain, and all this other stuff. They're going to blah blah blah. All that's fucking bullshit. All you need is quote love, because love conquers all, right? So that's the positivity mask, and be all lovey-dovey and nice, because that's what love is to them. It's not about awareness of important quality truths like morality. No, that's nothing to do with love.
Or agape mother lovers.
Yeah, they don't care about moral truth. They don't know what it is. And then kill the ego, which is something you can't do, because you exist as an identity and you'll always have an identity. And so you can't kill it. Always focus on the current moment now, as if, we're not beings that can foresee into the future and try to plan in the future and try to make things better in the future. So it's all about, that's like following your bliss type stuff that we've talked about too. What you don't like is only a reflection of yourself. This one is so fucking stupid. The mirror thing, you don't like that in someone else. Well, that's because you don't like it in yourself. So it's just a reflection. You're just projecting, like, get the fuck out of here.
Stop projecting, man.
Sometimes it can be valid, but they say that's stupid. What you don't like is only a reflection of yourself. That one's just bullshit. Right. Reality is an illusion. Quantum bullshit. That one we've talked about. Only God, source, nature teaches me, not other people. Can't learn from other people. You just have to look at nature, and nature is going to teach you everything you need to know. Like, get the fuck out of here, you fucking simplistic moron. What matters is my intention. More fucking bullshit to make yourself feel good. Apologist, and apologizing, being an apologist for your actions, I guess. As above, so below applies everywhere to everything, which it doesn't. It applies in certain aspects where it can be seen and it has relevancy, but that one can get out of hand. And evil is necessary. Good doesn't exist without evil. So those are all the major points there.
I forgot about this one, but I see them often.
Oh yeah, I learned them, some of them firsthand. That's why there's like the first 10 from Passio, and then I added 15 that I learned myself from interacting. And like some of them were covered in Passio's material before he did his revisited one, which included, I think, up to 20 or something. But I did this before he did that. So it's because I lived with someone I considered them new age thinking, and I heard a bunch of shit, and so I made my chart. It was one of my first pieces of work that I did there, early 2014.
That's awesome. And there's solutions actually. So
right,
the blue part there, it's the solution. So people, go on. I put them there. It's called evolveconsciousness.org. If you want to see more, it's Chris's work. It's fucking awesome. Go encourage him. I mean, so detailed, and I it's like fucking slapped me in the face. I was, oh my God, I forgot about that. You know, all these fucking... And by the way, you know, there's actually people who really believe that.
May we,
Good and
unfortunately.
evil. In order to have good, we need evil. That's the most fucking retarded things I heard from them. One of them, because there's a lot of retarded things that they're saying. But this one is low, brother. And let's not forget, you know, we can add that, maybe, Chris, you know, you're choosing your condition before you're born. You know, you're actually signing for this shit. You know, you're signing in for rape, for violence, for all these things. You chose it before you were born. Motherfuckers, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, oh, sure, brother. We were there and looking in the book, you know. Oh, what do I want when I'm getting onto it? Oh, I can choose like fucking raping and beating, getting beaten, or fucking living in misery, you know. Maybe I can choose both, you know. And I'm gonna accept my fucking condition and not doing anything about it. And this is what it's all about. It's laziness.
Well, it's tied into the, you know, any idea you come up with could be true, but does it make sense? You know, does it have any actual grounding to presuppose it as something that's more logical and more has more likelihood of being correct in reality than not? And these ones don't stand up, but they all stem from this nonsense of this bullshit idea of the karma and the reincarnation. So maybe there is reincarnation, and maybe you have a past life. Like, I don't know. I personally don't adhere to that. So I don't know. So anyways, but that's where it's built upon, is this whole, I guess it ties into the Buddhism, but it's even a false doctrine of Buddhism. It's not actually what the Buddhist texts refer to as karma. So they think that it's all in. So one of the things I've talked in my earlier work, 2014 or 2015, was it ties into the power of belief and the unknown. So when you have an unknown, it creates you have your worldview and you want things to make sense. So you have solid footing in what you want to walk through reality. You want to walk through reality that makes sense. You want things to make sense. You need to have things be solid, as an analogy. And what an unknown does is it pokes a hole. It makes a gap. And that gap is a void. It's an abyss. It's darkness. So that creates fear. It's a discomfort, because something that's supposed to make sense, your worldview, you want it to make sense so that you can navigate. That's like your map of the territory, so you can navigate in reality. And that makes a gap, a hole, an abyss, a darkness, a void. And that creates insecurity and discomfort, anxiety. And that's based in fear. So in order to alleviate this fear, well, when you have questions that are unanswered, well, that's what leads to that gap. Because instead of having a worldview that has no holes and it's completely solid, well, people are insecure in their formulation of how to view the world or how to view themselves. And rather than accept that some things you can't know, or maybe you can figure it out, but at the moment you won't know, but through contemplation and question and analysis and reading or figuring it out yourself, you can come to know. But there's other things that you'll never know. And rather than accept this, there's the psychological process where you try to fill in that gap. So there's a question, but there's no answer. But you need an answer because you're insecure and fearful of that insecurity and that void and that darkness and that abyss. So then you invent things, or other people feed you ideas that conveniently fill those gaps because they feed you something that they invented or they believe. And then now your worldview, now your self view is solid again. You're on solid footing and things make more sense. So that's what the origin of this false view of karma, as I see it, comes from, because they want making sense and have solid footing is order. Things need to make sense. So what is the order of the universe? Well, why am I poor? Why? So you could look at it in India, is where it's really strong. this notion of karma and deserving what you have and past lives. So why am I poor? Why am I miserable? Why did this happen to me? Why did this bad thing happen to me? And so you want things to make sense, and the way that you invent an answer for things to make sense that don't make sense, you have a question that's unanswered, things aren't making sense in your worldview, is you invent this belief that, well, it's because of a past life, something that you did, where now you're facing the consequences for that past life. But it's complete bullshit, because what kind of universe would punish you for things you don't even have a memory of doing in order to make you learn a lesson that you can't learn because you don't even have the memory of the thing that you did wrong? You can only have teaching of a lesson where memory applies, and if there is no memory, there is no lesson to be taught. So that's why, the Passios refer to it as the sixth sense memory, because it's that important, and that's how we learn from our mistakes, and that's how we learn from the mistakes of others, which can truly make us more wise than not have to do the wrong thing ourselves, even if it's not a morally wrong thing. Do wrong things where you learn from others, and you don't even have to do it yourself, and you can learn from the mistakes of others, and you can move forward into the future with that foresight, that eye of providence, which is what the eye of providence is. Providence is about seeing in the future, and you can guard against the future that you want to create by having the knowledge of the past, of other people's pasts. And that's where you could look at it as a symbolic way of a past life, that we're all past lives of all the other humans that have come before us, and we're learning from the mistakes of others in order for us to create a better future. And that's unfortunately not what's happening, right? We're doing it in some respect in humanity, but I've seen, the way I see it is like, over time, I don't know which way the camera's going, but anyways, over time we've been going, like, I see history as like things get a little bit better, we go into darkness, and then and we've come pretty good. Like we're on we still have a way to go, but we've been going pretty good. And right now I see it, that's like we're at a cusp where it's like we're gonna be going back down soon. We've been, the progress of humanity has been like slavery everywhere, and then it's like get rid of slavery, so we've been getting better and better and better. But now I think it's like where we're getting to the top, and unless the work that we're doing and trying to make things better, unless that grows and more people get into it to help awaken, enlighten other people into the moral truth, which is what's necessary to keep going up, it looks like we're we're going back down. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Derek, you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you. And Chris, thank you for that, because it does sound sound a lot more simplified than some of these pseudo spiritual ways that be overly mystified, and that right there, it's like this appeal to ego. Like, look at me, I can toss up the word salad and throw it up like I'm enlightened or whatever. Fred, like you mentioned, talking to some people where if you ask them the simple question and they kind of befuddle a way to just like break it down into layman's terms or whatever. And yeah, like for me, I've kind of been there, and I've had a spiritual awakening where it was such a ineffable experience that it was hard for me to explain certain things. But yet if that's the thing, like if people have really had experience, they can draw from that and try to articulate it the best way they can. So Chris, what you mentioned with this whole thing of people kind of like appealing to this, like, okay, like we're victims of certain things. And what kept coming to mind as you were speaking, and please feel free to reiterate some things, but ultimately what it kind of sounds like is that they're just legitimizing evil or wrongdoings, or like accepting it. Okay, this is just a part of life, and that's the karma, dharma, and all this stuff. And like, where's the actual call to positive action to change it, and all these things, and actually try to avoid being a victim in the fucking first place, and try to warn others, sisters and brothers, So yeah, there's the hopium that people are still kind of stuck on, and maybe they find it taboo to kind of, you know, mention certain things that could be negative and all that stuff. And yes, going back to the Matrix real quick while we're on the hopium stuff, and just with the new age blissed out stuff, if people really understand how some of these, you know, archonic parasites work, whether on the lower astral, whatever the fuck level, they will, you know, give people a little taste of their own, or like some energetic, like micro activations, if you will, or something like getting blissed out, whatever, very temporary. And what they can do with people that are blissed out is loose out even more energy. And if you take that to the allegory of the Matrix and how they were manipulating that twin flame connection of Trinity and Neo, where they wanted them so close but not touching, because like the more close they are, the more intense the energy gets. And with that emotion, the analyst talks about how they get that extra output from, you know, these, you know, the copper tops, the batteries, aka humans that are in these pods, when they're manipulating their emotions more, which are easier to manipulate than facts. His words again. So these are the systems of control on a multidimensional level, and it's right out, you know, it's been stated in not just the Matrix but other movies and plenty of other books for millennia. And people can look into these things a la the Hermetica and understand that yes, dark occultists use this against us, and they know it better than us. So it's best that we kind of, you know, wise up to, you know, what's been, you know, written throughout the ages. And like you said, Chris, we have so many examples that we can learn from to not, you know, put our hand on the hot stove anymore, you know, metaphorically speaking or whatever, right? So yeah.
So
Freddie.
yeah, so I want to bring up something, and it's a part of the book, The End of All Evil. And what I want to bring up is faith. So I would agree strongly with the definition of the author of this book. Means that faith is prudence. Faith is based upon experience. So you're supposed to learn prudence through your life, through your mistakes, through your things. So if you don't do anything, if you are stopping yourself in the way, because some people, and I mean there's a lot of people who went through where you were, Derek, actually, but I cannot say that for myself. I came from a more darker side, and I wasn't called by this kind of mentality. I was searching for solutions. I was not searching for cults. So I have this discernment since my earlier years in life. I was seeing clearly on this side, and it doesn't mean that I didn't learn from the spiritual communities and things like that, but most of the times I happen to disagree with them strongly because of this this tendency of mimics. There's a lot of people who are mimicking other people. There's a lot of people who are pretentious. There's a lot of people who are hypocritical in their words, in their intentions. You know, they're gonna tell you like things that you want to hear, but essentially, it is all a fake persona. And the people who will espouse this information, they're gonna become this false persona. So spirituality, as such as we're talking now, this fucking hell that they're creating for these people, this fucking cul-de-sac, this fucking dead end, This is a way where people will go spiritually dying, because there's going to be a state of stagnation. The spirituality, they will not push you to do the shadow work. They will not push you to look into the dark corners of your own psyche. They are, and I'm not saying every one of them, but a lot of them are fucking parasites. They're fucking leeching on these people naivety and ignorance, and they're puppets of the dark occultists. And this is what I want to bring up, because people, you don't understand them. You don't understand the darkness behind them, and you don't understand their care. There's a care of the darker side. And this is why we are getting our ass whooped. These people are working together hand in hand on the same page. And spiritualists, pseudo-spiritual people, they're not doing that. It's all about me. All the time. Me. And maybe it's you. Maybe it's the person that you're going to listen to it. Maybe it's you. You're Satanists, and you don't even know it. Most of them that I know, these fake-ass spiritual people, they're Satanists. They're ideological Satanists. They don't care about the well-being of other people. They don't care about that. They care about their own fucking freedom. They care about their own comfort. They care about their own fucking cloud, fucking sparkly, fucking unicorns and angels and things like that. They're leeching on this bullshit. And there's actually the people, they're gonna tell you, you don't have to look into truth. Truth is too hard. It's too deep for you to understand. You're gonna waste your time going into these holes and these rabbit holes. And they're saying the inversion of common sense. When you stumble upon actual information, you have to use discernment and judgment.
Take it judgment to the
trivia. Judgment for yourself. So if you're a New Ager and people saying, oh, you cannot judge me, you cannot judge anything, then you're a moron if you believe that. You're a moron, and you're keeping you're totally doing us a disservice for everyone, even the people who are not in the communities. There are some of them, cowards, they're gonna say, oh, I'm gonna go live in the wood. I'm too fearful of what is happening and gonna go away and hide myself. Cowardly. Spirituality is about freedom, and it's about freedom around you. It's the freedom of other people. And if you don't understand that, you're backwards. You don't get what spirituality really is. And the point that I want to bring is fear of death, fear of the unknown, and this morbid curiosity that we have to convince ourselves that it's some way or another. Some people will say, oh, I'm Christian, because I'm gonna go in paradise because I believe in Jesus Christ. Some people will say these New Agers, doesn't matter what happened here. When I'm dying, it's not gonna be useful anymore. I don't care. I don't have to do something, because it doesn't have, they don't believe in karma for some reasons, Because fear of the unknown is the mother of all fear. So people are scared of not having religions or not having substitute parents. So they're going to go right into those cults, right into the mouth of the fucking wolf. Clueless about the hard work that it takes to be a spiritual being. Derek, what is a spiritual being?
Being well in harmony with your mind, body, spirit, that full integration, the trifecta, if you will. Are we going to be the real thrice great within ourselves, meaning our, thoughts, emotions, and actions are in alignment, right? And that corresponds to the trivium, obviously, with having the proper grammar or knowledge, have that understanding with the logic, and then you have, your behavior, your rhetoric, your way of being. That is, if you're taking it the proper steps, which is a fucking process, a stepwise process, then yes, we can, say we're living in alignment to natural law and objective morality. And yeah, we're a spiritual being. Because, yeah, just if folks want to just hear someone say like, oh, you get that soul spark and you're awakened. Are you an activated individual? The real AI, that kind of shit. Do you feel it in your blood? Are you actually kind of like Neo? It's not something that you know. It's kind of like being in love. And like, do you have your fucking heart chakra activated? Like for fucking real, Because your third eye ain't seeing shit if you ain't got that first and fucking foremost. That's the first eye. That I am. And yeah, what's up, Theo Lukes? I saw he commented a couple times. It's cracking.
Yeah.
Good friend of ours.
Sahel representativity, by the way. Always there at the rendezvous, man. Thank you for being there. I missed all of them there. I cannot see the name, so welcome everyone. Hope you have
no worries.
Yeah, so I mean, and there's another thing that I want to bring, something that it's not brought up often. The gatekeepers. And you have gatekeepers, and then you have these fucking foolish, these ill-intended people who are actually trying to break these people. So gatekeepers, actually, they're people who will act as authority into the cult. They're going to control what comes inside, who comes inside the cult, and they're going to fucking, how do you call it, moderate the conversation. And if they have to delete some comments and stop the conversation and block and ban and things like that, these people are everywhere, and they do it, and they don't even know they're doing it, actually. So I stumble upon a lot of them. I fucking confronted them. I'm still doing it. This is what I'm doing now. And for the people who don't know, even the occult movement. Because the occult movement is partly spiritual. It's a partly spiritual community. So you have divisions into divisions, and then you have divisions and denial of divisions, and you have denial of denial. So this is a deep rabbit hole that I'm opening there. There's a whole can of worm, and sadly, some things that are broken cannot be healed because of the intention, because of the thing that happened because of that. And what about those fucking snakes? These snake in the grass, you know, fucking having this mask that Chris is presenting, you know, these people, when I see them, I'm getting very vitriolic with them. I've met them in real life. You know, these pseudo spiritual people. These fucking snake with their beautiful, you know, they talk very well, you know, and their intentions are for chaos, confusion. Even in the occult movement, even in the spiritual movement, there's snakes in the grass there, and they're fucking restless. Some of us have a better immunity against that because we have experience with it. But for the people, the beginners, they're gonna get caught into this trap, you know. And I'm gonna say it. There's some people, you know, I'm gonna point it out. These chaos sorcerers. This is how they call themselves. You're fucking disgrace. Motherfucker, you're a disgrace for all this community, all the people working their ass off to make this world better. Fucking disgrace.
Yeah, Chris, I want to hear what you gotta say. Fred, can I just say real quick? Yeah, like at this high fucking level of understanding, you know, eternal principles and just eternal truth, cosmic law, all these things, for people to understand that at that high level and y'all are out of alignment, yeah, that's completely fucked up. And it's just like really unacceptable.
We have learned as communities to tolerate the intolerable. We're putting too much attention into these fucking double-headed snakes. These motherfucker needs to go out, needs to go away. And when you get to them, and when I happen to stumble on the French side, these motherfuckers are cowards. When you confront them, they don't want to get into conflict. They don't want to get into argument because you're fucking cowards. All these dark occultists that are roaming around in these communities, these fucking chaos sorcerers, these Satanists, they're playing a game, and they're fucking turning people one against the other. This is what they want to bring. They know that it's weak. The networks are weak. There's no links between them, or almost no links between them. The community is such. They're weak ass communities. There's no foundation. People are divided between them for fucking worthless garbage, for difference of opinion. I'm gonna do a whole podcast about these motherfuckers. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of seeing our communities, the people working their ass off, getting bullied, getting insulted for no reason. No reason. You don't have to watch this stuff, asshole. Go elsewhere. Go jerk off with other motherfuckers like you. I don't care. You do whatever you want. Stay out of this. You think you're smart, motherfucker, because you read some fucking random books? What about doing the good thing? What about that? What about doing the right thing? If you don't fucking understand it, there's nothing I can do for you. But I know they're gonna listen to this. So fuck you. Go to hell. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not gonna give you any attention whatsoever. You're fucking disgrace for all the spiritual movement and the community and the occultists and the One Great Work Network. Fuck off. That's it. Find something. Go listen to another loser like you, fucking jerking off in their pages, insulting people, attacking people, bullying people, just because you don't agree on one sentence. Don't fucking imagine that's gonna be all right tomorrow. It's not gonna be all right. We have a lot of work to do. Just build up these communities and make them solid and firm. It's gonna be it's like gonna be climbing the Everest, metaphorically. It's gonna be hard, and then we're gonna have conflict. We're gonna have to talk about things that are uneasy for people, like spirituality, and try to get them to fucking common sense. Yeah, stand up for what's right and don't engage with evil. It's simple. Fear's for losers. And you know what? All these fucking gatekeepers and these double-headed snakes, they're just there for validation because they're small fucking children. This is what they are. They're fearful small children. This is what we're against. People who are actually, fucking roaming around, partaking in the conversation, and one day these motherfuckers are breaking, their gears are off or something like that. They're fucking aggressively attacking people. I see them in both sides, not only the snakes. The gatekeepers are doing the same thing, but they think they're doing the right thing.
What triggered them?
Truth.
Did they not do their shadow work? What the hell?
Truth. These motherfuckers that I'm talking about, they're talking about it, do your shadow work. It's fucking garbage that come out of their mouth. They're not, and you know what? You know what's magical with Facebook? People are imagining that they know you. They're coming from nowhere and they're telling you, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't do your shadow work. And really? You're in Facebook, motherfucker. Everybody has an opinion. And this is what we're dealing with. Freemasons, huh? Let's not forget them. How many fucking Freemason playing games, they have these fake ass profiles, attacking people, insulting them. Like I'm telling you, brothers, I've seen bad shit, and they're very blatant with it. They're not hiding it, but when they're getting exposed, now that's where it's fun, because these motherfuckers are cowards. I tell them, come on my podcast. I'm giving you the Tribune, motherfucker. You come here and you start your camera and you open your mic and we're gonna have a fucking talk. But as usual, these Freemasons, I'm not putting every Freemasons in the same boat there, but these particular Freemasons are fucking cowards. They don't want to get public. They have this fake ass image on their Facebook or YouTube. They don't show their faces. It's probably not their name. They're using a fake name. I confronted them. In the French side, brothers, they're just imagine that, brothers. They're there and they're telling you, oh, I was a Freemason. I was involved in it. Yeah, you were in it. And he refused to talk about it. And then when I pointed out, which lodge are you owned by? Where is your lodge? The motherfucker, he was red-faced like a motherfucker. I'm telling you, brother, these people don't like to get exposed. They like to shit on people's work. They like to insult people in the internet. When it comes to get face-to-face and talking about the true things, they don't want to get involved, because they know. There's not only Freemasons, there's plenty of them outside with different names and different identification, and it's sad. It's sad. We're an hour and 26 minutes into it. I thought I was to cover a lot on this one, but I think I'm gonna have to do a consideration on that. I suggest you guys, if you want to bring up something, some comments and oh, Cryptrick is there. Hey, brother, welcome. If you want to bring us something complete, just go on, plug your things. We're gonna put an end to it real soon.
Cool. After you, Chris.
Well, my site's there at the bottom, evolveconsciousness.org. Check out my stuff. If you want to learn about morality, the trivium, check it out. Infographics, go to the infographics page, and you can visually peruse infographics that I've made. Maybe something will catch your attention, and then you can look at a presentation about it. I'll end it there.
Yeah, I listen, brothers. This is where the line in the sand must go. I decided that I do that because this fucking community and these fucking community are fucking broken beyond belief, and I am enjoying this conversation with both of you guys. You shared your time with me and with the other people, and I appreciate it. Gratitude to you too, and the people who were there. There was a dozen of people who went there. Thank you so much, people. And I think there's I have to do a continuation of that, because we barely scratch the tip of the iceberg there. But I'm gonna get deeper into that and the schisms of that, because I mean there's so much to talk, and I like it so much to have you there. Chris and Derek's insights are awesome. We have to be open on other perceptions and other opinions and knowledge. So if you enjoy this podcast, people, I suggest you to do your own homework and try to do the work and get involved into the work. Do the shadow work. It's not easy. It's not going to be resolved in 1 week, but you have to do it. If you think you're spiritual people, and you don't do the shadow work, you're not spiritual at all. At all. You're dwelling into you're fucking sitting on a cloud, and you're floating somewhere, and you're not rooted into the ground. You have to go back to the root. Why am I saying that? Because as humans, the culture has fucking rotten us to the core. So we have to get rid. We have to get rid of this filth of cultural indoctrination and religious and government and these fake ass spiritual people that are around. And people, do your work, but if you see someone, or if you see a comment, or if you see, do something. They have to, these mistakes, these mistakes of judgment, these insults must not be left aside. We need to confront these people, because they're fucking doing a number on us. Because there's not much people who are involved in the work. So don't wait, do fucking something. And if you see someone doing something evil or bad, just fucking tell them, stop it. This is where it starts. You know, you're doing it for yourself. After that, you're doing it for the world, the external world. So, Derek, if you want to plug your stuff, I know you have. I'm gonna put up your link tree.
Cheers, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah, and you and I have, and I just posted this today actually on my YouTube channel and my BitChute and Odysee of with the Sheena Alexandra. Had some chats about freedom. Her and I and some other people, if anyone's interested, this is a great way. And if anyone hasn't done this, you know, I'm going into some solutions real quick to be more spiritually enlightened in the literal fucking sense. You can come join us. It's happening today. It's already Monday at 4:40 in the morning. We're gonna go detox, not eat any food for a week or 3. We will see, mon ami. So that's an open invitation. Let me know. You can send me an email via my link, tap link there. So yeah, self-initiation, like really integrating this knowledge and feeling into your body. And yeah, you all touched on the law of correspondence of really understanding that sacred principle, as above, so below. That's such a cliche thing for people to say, of course, but how many people are really observing and feeling into the universe within themselves? As above, so below, don't you know? But anyways, yeah, all goes back to mentalism and all, the first gate a lot of people are still stuck at, unfortunately. So yeah, it's a process to untangle all the mind manipulations and all that stuff. So yeah, that's kind of why I've had my DJ moniker Awakening Mind, where I have some pretty cool soundtracks to awakening and just being on the vibe of truth. And I mix in a lot of like Mark Passio, Seth Boza, Manly B. Hall, and other sound samples from some of the greats. So yeah, it's just been great to musically document my journey of expanding awareness and sharing it with others. And I'm in it for the fucking win-win. So on to the next one, my friends. Thank you so much for having us, Fred. Really appreciate it.
Mon plaisir, vraiment. I thank you again, everyone who are supporting the LIBERcast, and thank you again to both of you. I am enjoying this conversation, and if you want to look more into the LIBERcast or the One Great Work Network, there's plenty of links that I'm gonna provide for the people. But the LIBERcast is on YouTube, Facebook. My personal name is there, so you can get me on Facebook, and then I can show you the way of the group and having I mean, I'm publishing everybody's work there, you know, so there's always stuff day by day that I'm putting them. And Odysee and BitChute, and there's another one I cannot remember. I cannot fucking upload all of them at the same time. I have to look into it. There's so much work, not such time to do it. So tomorrow I'm gonna have James Robert Cardiner. Is gonna get on the LIBERcast to talk about this new website and great work. So I invite everybody to join us tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So take care and see you tomorrow for the people who's gonna be there. Thank you again.